Hi again and welcome back. In this video we're going to be looking at more Greek vocabulary, this time words for parts of the body. One of the main words for the body as a whole is ta soma, body. This is a third declension pneuma type noun, so the genitive adds a tau to the stem becoming somat, and the genitive is somatos. The chest or torso is thorax, and the xi at the end of the stem there is probably a combination of a kappa with a final sigma. The final sigma then drops off in the real stem, which becomes thorac, and so the genitive is thorakos. Tomelos is a limb or a part, and the genitive here is melus, and the plural is tamele. So this is another example of the genos family of neuter third declension nouns. The head is hekephale, and the forehead is tometopon. Hetrix is hair. I like to think that it's tricky to do your hair. And here again, the xi at the end is probably formed by the colliding of a he and a sigma. So the sigma drops off, like in ichthus class third declension nouns, and we end up just with the real stem trich, hence trichos as the genitive. But notice that the combination happens again in the dative plural when you add the C ending on sigma iota. The he at the end of the real stem combines again with the sigma of the dative plural ending to get trixie. Taus is the ear, and the real stem here is ot, so the genitive is otos. And again, the dative plural looks a little bit different because the tau is absorbed by the sigma of the C ending, so the dative plural is osi. The face is ta prosopon. Ha ophthalmos is the eye, and ta stoma is the mouth. Another third declension neuter noun of the pneuma type, so that the real stem is stomat, and the genitive, for example, is stomatos. Haodus is a tooth, and the real stem here is odont, and the genitive is odontos, and this is where we get terms like dentist, or orthodontics, orthos, straight, and odontos, tooth. Heglossa is your tongue, your physical tongue in your mouth, but also metaphorically speech or language. When one opens one's mouth to speak, one uses the verb anoigo, I open. And this is a tricky verb. Remember, first of all, that the gamma at the end of the stem is a palatal class stop in our square of stops. So when we add sigma to it, we get the xi. So the future is anoixo, and the first aorist is anoixa. But notice too that there are two competing stems for anoigo, and this happens sometimes. One is anoig, and the other is anaog, with an iota subscript under the omega. So we actually see sometimes two different aorist forms, the anoixa that we just looked at, and also anaoxa. And there are three different forms of the aorist passive: anoichthane, or anaochthane, or anoigane, the last being a second aorist passive. So just be aware that there are those two different stems. Once you know what the two different stems are, then it's fairly easy to come up with those aorist and aorist passive endings. On the arm, we have at the end hodaktulos, or finger. And this is found in English terms like pterodactyl, which has wings made out of fingers. And hecher is the hand or arm, really the lower arm, from the elbow down, would sometimes be included in hecher. This is one of those third declension nouns where the nominative singular form is the real stem, so the genitive is just heros. But notice that there are two possible forms in the dative plural, either hersi or hersi. Probably the dropping out of the iota happened just for ease of pronunciation, and it's not consistent. Habrachion, then, is the arm itself, and the genitive is brachionos, with the real stem being brachion. If we want to tell our left from our right, we use the adjective dexios, dexie, dexion, which means right. And so he dexia is the right hand, or the right side. At the end of our leg, we have hopus, foot, or lower leg. Again, that can refer to the whole shin area down from the knee to the foot. The real stem here is pod, and so it's close to a pice type third declension, where you drop the sigma and replace it with a hidden consonant, often a delta, except that in the nominative form we also have that upsilon, pus. But the stem becomes pod, and the genitive is podos. And this is where we get words like podiatrist from. Pod, foot, and iatrist, from iatreo, to heel. Toskelos is not the skeleton, although it is easy to think that. Toskelos is the leg, and the real stem here is skele, so the genitive is skeleos, and the nominative plural is taskele. So again, this is very much like a genos type third declension noun. It is neuter, and the genitive sometimes is skeleos, and sometimes, like with genos, is just skelus. The knee is togonu. The real stem here is gonat, so this is close to a pneuma type, except that the upsilon at the end of the stem changes to an alpha. And the genitive is gonatos. Again, the dative plural is a little bit irregular because that tau is absorbed by the sigma of the dative plural ending, and so we get gunasi. But we also notice have the reappearance of an upsilon there for some reason. Again, possibly for ease of pronunciation. Dative plurals seem to have caused Greek speakers a little bit of trouble with pronunciation. One other useful body term is tosplanknon. This means an internal organ, but it's used mostly in the plural, tasplankna, which means the innards, all of your guts. Hesarx means literally your flesh, your muscle, and so is also a term for meat. The real tense here is sark. Once the sigma that has combined with it to form the xi drops off, we're left with just sark. And so the genitive is sarkos, and we get the combination of the kappa with the sigma again in the dative plural to form sarxi. Heperitome is circumcision.